learning how to apply the quadratic formula to find the exact solutions. Remember yesterday we started to kind of understand the quadratic formula, and now today we're going to apply that for certain ones to solve for those solutions. So do you guys remember what the quadratic formula is? Can anyone tell me? Very good. Yeah, that is exactly right. So everyone might not have that memorized. So what we're going to do is we're all going to stand up and we're going to sing along and do some actions.
Is the camera recording for this?
Not yet.
Please say it's not.
Like,
Don't worry about it.
Spanish.
I don't like standing.
I will be singing this
So everybody stand up.
in bed. Stuck in my head.
Spread out just a little bit.
Please tell me that's an opportunity.
It's not on you. Don't.
Do you have the...
I choose not. He's just like, I don't care if you like it or not. You couldn't do it.
Okay, ready?
Is there lyrics?
This is the quadratic formula. As you notice, it is quite long. You may even need to memorize this. That's what we're going to memorize the quadratic formula. First, let's start out with the words. It goes to the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now you try it.
Everybody.
X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Alright, let's add some actions. X equals negative b
It's like a
plus or
line.
minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now you try it. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now let's put the actions and the words
Now we're
together.
going together.
X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Great job, boys and girls. Continue to practice this.
Let's do that one more time.
The actions and the words together. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Great job, boys and girls. Continue to practice this. You'll have the quadratic formula memorized.
Oh, we're not done.
That was Now when you think about the quadratic formula, are you gonna think of that song? No. Maybe?
Oh, you should. It's too long to memorize otherwise. You don't have to do the actions, but you should
You guys
know
want to
the
sing it one
song.
more time?
Yeah, we should.
Do it. Because next week, when we review, we're gonna do it too. So let's sing it one more time. Ready?
Ready? X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Right?
That's why I thought it was so like notes are for song.
Well, we have enough time at the end to have
I
a
would never
going to
listen
bed.
to that.
We'll see. Okay?
My brain is dead now.
All right. So now you need to make sure you have those worksheets on your desk so we can pick those up. And then you need to get out some notes. We're gonna take some notes first, and then we'll work on some more problems using these quadratic formulas. So everyone getting out their notes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
My name on that.
And yeah, if you want to use those words, Alright. Can I have your attention now, please? Because remember you have a quiz tomorrow, so I want to get through this material so that you can have everything you need to study for your quiz. Okay? So everyone has their notes out and they're ready to take some notes. So at the top of your notes, let's write quadratic formula. And yes, if you want to use the back side of your orange sheet, that would be great. I'll just, it's like the next step on that sheet. So then after you write the quadratic formula, how about we write what it is that we just learned? No, we just started with Josh. Right? Just learned this. And if you want to follow along in your books, we're on page 515. And when would we use the quadratic formula? When do you think we would use this? Does anyone have any ideas? Remember yesterday you kind of used it for some of them. What were you finding?
The roots or x-intercepts.
Okay, so the x-intercepts, so our x values for those. And we learned a different way to do those, right? When we had, what was the form? When we had y equals ax squared plus bx, right? We factored in things. But see, for this one, what if we add the c term? Do you see how we have ax squared plus bx plus c? So that is your typical quadratic equation. So if you have this, you would need to use the quadratic formula. Because we haven't figured out any other ways to solve those. Okay? So maybe jot that down too, that we need the quadratic equation is when we use it, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals y. I have 0. So that's when you would use the quadratic formula, right? To find the x-intercepts or the roots. Wait, what is it? Got it? The x-intercepts? Or a quadratic equation? Okay. Got that? So then there's some things that you need to do before you can use this formula. What do you think the first thing that we need to do first is? Patrick? Yeah, we gotta set our equation equal to 0. So you should write quadratic expression is set equal to 0. Yeah. Go. Yep, and then next you need to find the values of A, B, and C. So maybe if you want to add a little note, you can say y equals 0. Set y equals 0. Then you need to find those values of your A, B, and C. And then, Tucker, what can we do after that?
After we set the y to 0, or
Yeah, after we set y equals 0, and we find our A, B, and C, what then can we do?
fill them into the equation.
Yeah, we can substitute into the formula, right? And you can also find this on page 515 in your book. Okay, now those notes will help you with this worksheet I'm handing out. Now these are from number 2 that we did, that you should have done for homework last night. So you may already have C done, C completed, but this is D and E. And what it does is it kind of splits it up for you so that you can do each step at a time. So that way you don't get as confused. So what I want you to do now is in your groups is to just fill out this table and see, first do the first one and see if you get the right answers, and we'll go through it together, and then we'll try the next one and so forth. Okay?
So we already did C.
Selected the yellow worksheet that you do not hear information on.
Do you still need that?
So this morning we just went around with stamps and kind of like when we knew a box was filled in correctly, we stamped it. Okay. Just to kind of keep track of who she visited and who I visited. Sure.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Stamp it. And we'll just stamp when we see stuff that's right.
It's a negative, which is a positive. But you're showing right.
So if that were
Sorry. All in there.
3 over negative 2.
So it'd be 3 over negative
Yeah, no, dude, it's 2A. And then it's just A, but this is the value of A. That's the drive.
Now, do you have just one answer or two?
No.
That's usually my answer.
And then you guys, as you go, check your calendar to see if you agree with it. Your seat is always going to be your constant. Your seat is going to be max. Your age is going to be probably Christian. We should email you. I'd like to hear it.
How'd you get 30?
I got 17.
So one thing that I see is that
I had 17.
because otherwise your negatives are going to get all on. So you should do it.
10 is 40 minus 9 is 39 divided by 6.
You're on the right. I think he's on the right track there.
Oh, 40 plus 9. So it's 49. This is 40.
You got to apply it.
Only goes 44, so
And you get 2 answers. Just has plus 1 minus. So we get B squared is that.
Start on the next one.
That's how it is up there.
I got back
That's
up
the
here.
image.
It's plus the 9, 40.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
I got the other one.
Well, I asked her. Add positive.
What is this quadratic 7? Oh, thank you very much for sharing that. I don't know what her second video is, but it may be from that. We use that pretty often. Alright, so if I simplify 7 divided by
So is that following what you guys are doing? Have I done it right so far?
talking about it. So this one can simplify to 7 here.
Yeah, I know.
Up there, we'll put root top 9 and it's root never possible. So now we're not multiplying it equals 7.28. This equals this.
No, I mean,
So then here, I want you to what do we have on top? Now we're gonna do it again. Here. This is the same, this is the same. Square root plus the square root, what was the square root of 49? Now, this is this. Okay, now we're gonna do the minus part. Is the plus part here? So this is minus. Because it's a negative. That's a positive 3. So now this minus. That's a positive 3.
Have you already told them what check your answers or check your solutions means?
No, I don't believe it.
No, no, we're there yet. We're getting.
This should be negative, right?
Yeah.
3 should be and 1.
So that's negative. And then we're gonna check your solution box, because I guess we're gonna use actually. Check that. So it's same thing for this one. You don't have to do this, just goes in for
So then how would we check our answers? Can we just plug one of these values back into this? So we have negative
You actually want to
negative
hear
5 squared minus 3 times 5 plus 10 equal to 0. So can everyone look up here for a minute? We're going to check it. First of all, did you get negative 5 and 2?
Yeah.
Negative 5 and 2 should be your values. So then then if we want to check if they're correct, we take one of our values, we plug it back into our equation, and so what do I get here? What's a negative 5 squared? 25. Is it going to be positive or negative 25?
Negative.
I mean negative, right? Because when we square a negative 5, it turns a positive, but then we still have that negative out front because of this, right? And then we have
15
minus or plus,
plus.
and then plus 10. Does that equal 0?
Yes.
So that means that we're correct. Okay.
Wait, how'd you get 2 though? How'd you get 2?
Because a negative minus a negative is positive.
No. I'm talking about.
Because in our formula, remember you have to subtract them and then add them together? Because it's plus or minus. Oh, you put it in decimal form? I don't.
Do we have to subtract and add them?
Because look at your original.
Oh,
That's why in our song we said plus or minus the square root. So does everyone's work similar to this first one?
Copy down how she checked us right now.
That's C.
That is
Very
check
confusing.
your
Which part?
solution.
All of
That's
it?
for C.
All of it?
But if
Okay,
you
we'll go through the next one.
First value, negative 5.
Can we
check
I
the-
start, yeah, go ahead and start on the next one.
Write down what
We'll
she
just
has
go
for
through
check
that one
is
too.
negative 5. And then you're gonna have to do the next, the positive.
The check-in solution, blue squares, right?
Those are the solutions. The checking part is the blue ink. And that should go in here.
Okay.
And you can write it.
Underneath here, she checks the 5, and that's what goes in here, is checking, verify that your solution is correct. So negative 3 times minus, and then use it under its address with a line, and then check your negative solution. So she got to come back 0. So I use the 2 in the same way, in the original formula. And again, if it's correct, you'll have 0 on both sides.
You just really have to watch your negative signs.
-1, -4, -2.
So same with yours. You have to have 0 on both sides. Have to. So you're not gonna write your transition that looks great.
What is?
It's further negative, okay, and this guy.
I'll get for a second.
You have to get 0 on both sides. The first thing you'll do is subtract 2 from each side. So your C term is gonna be -4 instead. Guys, on F, you have to get 0 on one side to begin. The quadratic formula only works if 0 is on one side. That's a key. I was just walking around thinking, hey, I know the answer and I'm not getting it right. That's why. You have to plug Okay, can everyone look up here for the E part? Okay, everybody kind of stop where you're at for a minute. Let's look up here and go through this one. So what I did is I did our x equals, and I left it as plus or minus. So make sure that when you do this, you follow through by adding them, and then you go through by subtracting them on your worksheet. Okay? So what do I get for my first term? Do I have it correctly written? I put in my C term, right, instead of my A term? So now what should it be? 6 over 2 is 3. We have plus or minus. Do you see how I use parentheses here? Because it's the -6 that we're squaring, right? So we need to keep that in there so we can get a positive number. So 6 squared is 36. Then we have minus 4 times 13 is 52. And then it's all over 2. Do you see how I just take little chunks of this and do those one step at a time?
Mrs. Wires, I'm also thinking that as we're learning this, the students that I work with, I noticed they got through the first part of it with the plus sign. And then they didn't know what to do after that. So we've talked that we need 2 solutions for most of these. I'm wondering if it would help when we start the quadratic formula, if we put a box or something around the plus and minus part at the very beginning. And then when we're doing the first one, instead of putting plus or minus, again, just listing the plus. It's the plus.
Just the plus first.
Because then I know I have to go back and do the minus. Because that seems to be a big piece that's missing yet. And I really like the parentheses, and we cannot emphasize enough that the parentheses will make sure that you get the correct value in for that variable without messing up, gee, I've got a negative sign out here, but it's a negative coefficient, so that negative sign must be part of that coefficient when it's outside the actual variable value itself.
And that's why I said it's really important. You might think that this negative b, that you're going to know it's just going to be a positive if this negative, but you can really mess that up easily. So it's simple. Just put some parentheses around it and put both of them on there so that you know that you're correct when you look back on your work. Okay? So if we just do the plus one first, what do I have? I have 3 plus, what is 36 minus 52? Did everybody kind of go, oh wait, can we do a square root of a negative number?
What about that?
You said what? No
No
solution?
solution.
Is it okay just to say no solution?
Just means it doesn't work.
How about though, when we say that, we circle y? So that we know it's a no solution because of that negative number in the square root. Because I noticed on one of the homeworks that you just put no solution because you weren't sure how to finish the problem. But that's not why it's no solution. It's no solution because there's a negative number in our square root.
That was another piece that was missing. Once they did the addition and subtraction inside the radical sign, they did not continue to bring that square root sign down to the next step in the problem. It was just gone. We cannot just say, all right, since I've done the math under the parentheses or the bracket, in this case it's the square root sign, and then it magically disappears. No, that's something very special. So we take our math calculation and we bring along with it that square root sign. And then we take the square root of that number and then we divide. We have to be very aware of that order of operations or it will be very easy for you to get all mixed up.
Tucker, did you have a question?
Oh, no, never mind.
Got it? Anyone else have any questions? So when you have a no solution, make sure you circle why that is on your problem.
And would you draw an arrow to the fact that it's the negative radical, it's not the negative radical divided by 2, it's that negative radical piece that we cannot do mathematically.
So everyone should have this on your worksheet, okay? All right, so then for the F. So we realize that it equals 2. Can we use the quadratic formula on something that equals 2? Susan, what do you think?
Will you write the original form of it, like ax squared plus bx plus c? So by doing this, guys, we're putting 0 in for y. That's when the quadratic formula works. That's the only way it works.
But does the 2 go away? Does it just magically disappear because I've replaced it now with a 0? What do I have to do so that my equation now looks like that general form and equals 0?
So Josh, can you help me rewrite this? What would it be?
It would be negative x squared minus 4x minus, I think, 4,
Equals
0.
0. Yep.
Now you can use the quadratic formula.
Oh, we subtracted 4 from, or 2 from both sides?
I like to hear that. I heard that back here. Oh, that aha moment. That's awesome.
So now what's our A term, Susan? Is it 1? Negative 1? And our B, Jason? Negative 4. And our C, Colin? Negative 4. Now if I do the plus of this, what do I get for my negative B? 4 over 2 times negative 1. We'll do the plus 1 first. We have the square root of what? What's our B? Minus 4 times negative 1 times
4 over.
We get a negative 2 plus the square root of what? 16 minus is it minus 16? You guys all agree on that? This 4 times the negative 1 times the negative 4 gives me gives you 16, right? And then it's minus that, so it's minus 16. Does everyone follow that? Over negative 2. X equals negative 2 plus, what's this? The square root of 0, right? Negative 2. What's the square root of 0? 0? Does everyone agree with that? If not, get out your calculator. Do the square root of 0.
It's 0.
Okay.
Well, it's obvious I didn't do that for you.
So then what's our answer?
0.
Negative 2.
Oh.
Because this is 0, right? So this is plus or minus 0. So does it change? Do we have another solution? No, we don't, right? We just have x equals negative 2. Did everyone follow that? Because if we have negative 2 plus 0 or negative 2 minus 0, it's still negative 2, right? Okay. So does everyone have this on their sheet? So now looking at your worksheets, if you do have it filled in, if you're still filling in, just keep working on getting your notes down. But otherwise, look at the worksheet and kind of look at the solutions. How many solutions did the first one have? How many did the second one have? How many did the third one have? Can you find any reasons for that? Look on your worksheet. Can you find a reason for why that happened? Let's just think about that while everyone catches up on their notes. Okay, can we move on now? Alright, I have one more thing for you to put in your notes. So let's go back to this. We're gonna learn another word. Discriminant. The discriminant of this is the b squared minus 4ac. And where do we find that in the quadratic formula? Max, where is that at? When we look at our quadratic formula, where is that? Look at it. Where do we find that value? It's under what?
Under the square.
Yeah, it's under the square root, right? So that value under the square root, this is a really good check. When you're solving these, you can check at the end. If that value is positive, you'll have two solutions. So put this in your notes. Underneath where we are putting the quadratic formula information, put this term, discriminant, and then say b squared minus 4ac will tell me that if it's a positive number, you'll have two solutions. If it's 0, you will have one solution. And then if it's negative, it'll have no solution. And that's what we just did, right? We did one with 2, one with no solutions, and then one with one solution. So you have a really good example of each kind. And I bet if you went back and checked, you would see that
that very last one, you got square root of 0. So you had -2 plus 0 and -2 minus 0. It makes sense that that was only one solution.
Close, but wasn't right.
Yeah. That's good thinking. This goes up like the same thing. You just have to look at this term, okay? So now what do you have to have done for tomorrow then? Yep, the CYU, study for your quiz, and I would even look at number 4 classwork. Make sure you kind of look at this, and we'll go over that in the morning before the quiz. Or tomorrow before the quiz.
It's number, oh, hang on. Do you remember what the homework is for tomorrow? No, like to assign tomorrow. You're gonna be gone tomorrow. You're gonna flip over to it on that.
No, this hand.
The assignments are done.
But you can't just hand it to us. You gotta talk them through, and she's gotta let you know. So you're gonna have to come before or after school, and she'll sit and actually put them right in the computer.
You guys need a
Can you come right after school, Colin? Can you come right after school today?
Yeah.
Why?
It was leaving.